Seattle. There's Dak. Everyone expecting a lot out of him. Cowboys down 4 in the fourth. Dak Prescott with a nice pass to Amari Cooper. That's a 34-yard gain for Dak, his longest pass of the day. 4 plays later, Zeke runs in the 1-yard score. Dallas up 3. Fast forward, less than 3 minutes to go. This is 3rd and 14. This is Dak being all mobile and everything. Runs for the first down all the way to the 1. Next play, he would run it in for the score. And there it is. Jerry Jones, super fired up. Cowboys pull out the 24-22 win. Here is Dak Prescott after his first playoff win.
This team, everything we've been through, we had so much confidence coming to the game, and our confidence remains. I mean, we just played a great Seattle team. But just honestly, it's just all about the way we fall, the way we compete through success and adversity. Proud of our guys.
Can we talk about the way this guy fought on 3rd down, running it for 16 yards to get the first down and then set up the touchdown? I mean, what were you thinking when you saw him take off?
It's simple. You're a grown man. That's what it is. That's how he played today, and he let us hit his win.
All right, CC, bunch of happy guys right there. What was the key to the Cowboys beating Seattle?
I got to say Dak be able to run the ball in the fourth quarter, because to me that was the edge. When they had that 3rd down and extremely long, a lot of bad things can happen. The defense, man, you're playing into their hands. They got less space to defend. They're not worried about you running the ball. They actually hope you run it, so then you kick the field goal on 4th down. This is not a first down play. Brilliant call by them, but it was to try to get the ball for an easy chip shot. If they get the easy chip shot compared to a touchdown, then Dallas could very easily lose this game. That touchdown drive and converting right there was the biggest play in the game. And Dak being heady enough to be able to, man, because he had a point where he could have gone to his left or right. He read the blockers, knew he had the guards on the linebackers, and knew he had his running back, and he decided to split them and to try to make that attempt. A lot of quarterbacks, they wouldn't do that. A lot of quarterbacks trying to manage their overall health and everything. So for me, Dak Prescott and his ability to accept that game plan and to be able to run that football when they needed, that 3rd and 14 to me was the difference in a great football game.
See, it's not hyperbole to say it wasn't only the biggest play in this game. That is the biggest play by a Dallas Cowboy since Larry Brown picked off Neil O'Donnell in Super Bowl 30 to ice that game. That you might say, wait, how can it's 23 years since then? Well, think about it. They only won 2 playoff games since then. The one close call would be Terrence Williams' touchdown catch from Romo in their playoff win over the Lions. Like this won them the football game. They were 1st and goal from the 1. Like, they're going to score a touchdown. They're going to go up 2 scores, and they're going to win the game. And if you're Dak Prescott, at least at this point in his career, and I think it's probably fair to say even next year in his career, he's not going to be one of the 5 or 8 or maybe even 10 best pure passers of the football. So the way he can create added value is things like this. Is winning plays in the most critical moments. So like this touchdown drive combined with the 7-play, 75-yard touchdown drive to end the first half that got them in the end zone for the first time. Zeke had a huge 44-yard run on 3rd and 1 on that play where Seattle had everyone compacted and he bounced it outside. Like those are winning moments. In a game that Seattle had a very questionable game plan offensively, Dallas took advantage and they stuck to who they were. Zeke had 30 touches. Dak made the one mistake we talked about, but aside from that, played a relatively clean game, avoided the critical sacks that killed him earlier in the year, and in the biggest spot, made the biggest play of the year, not only for the Cowboys, maybe in the NFL.
And that's what Zeke is talking about. When he talks about grown, he's talking about making good decisions. Like when they came into this league, and they have been through a lot. They've been under the microscope a lot, and this is their 3rd season together. 2 postseason, but they were kids coming into them. Both of them have made mistakes on and off the field, some one and the other none. But That's what you expect on the Dallas Cowboys. When Jerry drafted these guys, he expected them to be in these big games, making those types of decisions and running the football the way Zeke did, because Zeke played like he was a grown man, and Zeke got it right as far as describing Dak and his decision-making in this football game.
Because Dak's numbers were pedestrian at best, but he found a way to win the game, which is all you can ask for in a quarterback, especially when you're looking at a quarterback for the future. On the other side of the ball, why couldn't Seattle pull this out?
If I'm Seattle and I'm Pete Schottenheimer and I start rewatching this, I understand who they've been all year as a running football team. But part of the reason they've been around is they've been dominant running the ball. Yeah, they've averaged 35 rushes a game in the last 13 weeks. But that was for 170 yards. They were averaging 5 yards per carry in that stretch. They called this football game. They would have called it no different if Blake Bortles was their quarterback. Throwing was a last resort at all times, despite the fact that A, you have Russell Wilson, B, Dallas's defensive front was playing a tremendous game. It was very clear by midway through the second quarter they could not successfully run the ball on first and second down. Yet they tried to call runs on first and second down the entire game. They treated a pass like it was only for emergencies. 4th and 6, I guess we'll let him pass. And not shockingly, Russell makes a perfect pass. Down 10, 2 minutes left. I guess we're going to, I think they're going to regret not using their all-pro level quarterback more in this football game.
Yeah, I totally disagree with you. And the reason why, coming into this game, we knew that was the same. Oh, if Seattle, they get behind, the one thing we like about them is, oh, they're very patient. Oh, they'll stay with the running game. So now they've lost. So we're going to go back to the game and try to rewind it and be like, you know something, I believe they should be more aggressive. There are certain teams, Seattle being one of them, they only have a couple variances for which they can win offensively. And thinking that offensive line could back Russell up and pass 45 times? No, that defensive front was playing at a different speed. This was not a good matchup for Seattle. So I thought Dallas would take them out of their running game, but Russell being able to make one or two enough plays outside of, let's not forget the 3rd and 14 we just saw. So if they settle for a field goal, how many plays does Russell need to make to be able to lead them back? So you can't just change your style in the postseason just because it's the postseason, because your team, you have to tell them during the week how we're going to play. And if you don't play that way, it's hard for the team to have confidence in the coach. Pete Carroll and them had a style. Be physical. Brian Schottenheimer, they tried that. They changed it after the first couple games. It's what got them into this playoff run. And we can't fault them because they lost the game in the style that got them there. Because, I mean, how do we ever critique the coaches then? Because everyone is getting scouted. So they were able to dominate them on the front. And you got to give Dallas's defensive line credit for taking them out of the game plan.
The reason I think it's fair to critique them is because we ask coaches to make adjustments. If you've got an offensive lineman who's just getting whooped the entire game and your quarterback's getting sacked.
But it doesn't make it better for him, Nick. As your coach, how can I make that guy successful? Backing those offensive tackles up against Dallas is not the way. No, and because of their lack of talent on offense, that's why they have less variables, less change of pace. They only got a fastball and a curveball.
No, I get that part of it. When I was saying if you have an offensive lineman getting whooped, I was going to use a hypothetical one that didn't happen in the game. If you have an offensive lineman getting whooped in a generic game and your quarterback keeps getting sacked, you either roll the guy out away from him, you chip the guy, you find things to adjust in game. The inability to adjust in game, that this running attack that has all year long worn people down, that has the last 13 weeks averaged 5 yards per carry. They had 20 rushes for 30 yards at one point in this football game. To not try the curveball a little more often, even if you only have 2 pitches.
But what is it though?
What?
We can't just make it up. Russell run the ball. Like if you would say, man, Russell, I believe Russell should have used his legs more, I would listen to that. But we can't just say, hey, they should change to what?
Change to absolutely the ball in Russell Wilson's hands with his ability to run or pass. I thought that was obvious. That's what I was saying. That the best player on your team in this, because they were playing to get exactly what they almost got. You're right about that. They were playing, hey, down less than a touchdown, 2 minutes left, see what our quarterback can do. I didn't think they had to play a game where it was in that position. I thought they could have scored more earlier.
I think
in
Seattle,
the game.
Before the game, realized our offensive front is at a disadvantage going against their front 7. So how can I slow them down? How can I give Russell a chance? Russell was sacked one time. So they had enough plays. The defense has got to get off the field on that third down, and then that changes the argument. Russell Wilson and this offense, this offseason, they have to try to come up with some other things to make them more explosive, and they ran out of options in Dallas.
All right, time now for Put a Grade on It, sponsored by CarMax. So Dak Prescott had a pretty nice day in his first playoff win as a Cowboy. Nick, put a grade on Dak Prescott's game.
That play right there gets you an A. I mean, if that was all he did the whole game, that play right there that changed the course of the Cowboys season potentially was the biggest play of the weekend. That gets you an A. So this grade easy for me.
Yeah, I'm going to give him an A+. The Dallas Cowboys quarterback leading them to victory in the style for which he played. Hey, Dak, don't be trying to develop to be a drop-back quarterback. Be a winning quarterback, and that's what he was able to get done in Dallas. That's why I give him an A+.
All right, good stuff. Got to take a break. Coming up, hey, how dangerous are Andrew Luck and the Colts right now? That's next on First Things First.